You don't need to be strong and independent. These are masculine traits. We already have that in truckloads. We don't need that in our lives. Men are not attracted to strong, independent women.
Never, and I mean never, date an educated woman, a successful woman, a wealthy woman, a rich girl, woman that is fixed on becoming a...
Do you want to raise your daughters to be grown, independent women? No, unless you want her to be single or divorced.
What would be the best advice you would give to a man that's dating a hyper-independent woman?
For me, leave her. Like, think about it in reverse, ladies. If you had a hyper-dependent man, would that turn you on? Probably not as a woman, because you're looking for a leader and all those things. Well, as a man, I'm not looking for a hyper-independent woman. I need to feel needed. I'm sorry. So if you don't need me, you got to leave me.
I heard you, SD.
An independent woman is not for everyone. In fact, in some cases, an independent woman will actually intimidate another man. And that's primarily based on the fact that this woman does not need a man in her life. If a man is in her life for whatever reason...
Dating an independent woman means every task comes with an expiry date, and no one's going to tell you what it is.
Hello, welcome. My name is Glins. Alright, so today we're watching men try to explain exactly where they can handle independent women. And honestly, listening to them, some of these answers say way more about their own insecurities, their weird expectation, and the need for control that they can actually do about the women they're talking about. It gets pretty wild. Definitely stick around for the last clip too, because that final guy answers just is on at all different level. You're gonna want to hear it. And look, before we jump in, I'll make it quick. If you're enjoying the content, do me a massive solid, hit the like button, drop a comment below. Seriously, I want to know what you guys think, and let's argue about it down there. And subscribe if you're new. You know how it is. It feeds the algorithm and actually helps the channel out. So I really appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it.
Never, and I mean never, date an educated woman, a successful woman, a wealthy woman, a rich girl, woman that is fixed on becoming a successful entrepreneur, someone going up the career ladder, any kind of woman like that. You never ever go near. Not because she's evil, not because she's a bad person, but because it is completely out of alignment with her nature. What you have to understand is that women in the modern age are currently operating completely outside of their nature. The feminist ideology that women for the last 50 years have been inflicted upon has been so intense to essentially convince women that their natural existence on this planet, which is to have children, is oppressive. That is one of the greatest tragedies that's ever occurred in modern times. The reason you date a woman that is in that position, that she has provided for herself, she has ticked off all of the bucket lists, she's financially stable, she's got everything a man would normally provide her, but then it is your time to step back into your masculine frame. We no longer are going to stand for this. And at the same time, we can't give women the excuse to point out and say, where are all the good men at? We as men have dropped the ball. We as men allowed this, and we as men will take it back.
Men are confused. Men are confused. That gender. That gender. The confusion that is wrong with that gender. Men are confused. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The TED Talk is that men are confused. You can say whatever you want to say in the comment section.
What would be the best advice you would give to a man that's dating a hyper-independent woman?
For me, leave her. Like, think about it in reverse, ladies. If you had a hyper-dependent man, would that turn you on? Probably not as a woman, because you're looking for a leader and all those things. Well, as a man, I'm not looking for a hyper-independent woman. I need to feel needed. I'm sorry. So if you don't need me, you got to leave me.
Do you want to raise your daughters to be grown, independent women? No, unless you want her to be single or divorced. She's supposed to be a helper, and she's supposed to be one with her husband. It says in the Bible that a son takes a wife. He leaves his mother and father and takes a wife. It says that a daughter is given in marriage. You know what that means? Her dad's still involved. My goal with my daughters was to make them strong, but not independent. What's the difference? An independent woman is not fit to be a wife. That's why they're single and divorced or marrying guys that are less than that they can then mother. My goal with my daughters was not to make them independent, but strong. My daughters, very strong. My wife, very strong. Strength is not a problem. Independence is.
Independent, that's a red flag to me. We don't like independent women. We do like self-sufficient women, but there's a major difference between the two.
The Venn diagram of male and toddler behavior is almost a perfect circle. Inability to communicate, 4 basic communication skills. Prone to angry emotional outbursts instead of communication. Poor motor skills, like things get dropped or broken or smashed a lot. That's literally like the same as a toddler. The missing link between actions and consequences. Things they can lie to your face. Doesn't understand like short-term versus long-term reward. Needs to be supervised, otherwise they will make poor decisions. When they've been quiet for too long, you know something's wrong. Needs to be potty trained. Wants what they can't have and like doesn't understand why they can't have it. Has conflicting desires, right? Like they want to be themselves independent, but they also get mad when other people don't like predict their needs or read their mind or whatever. Has to have everything spelled out for them, right? For it to finally make sense. And there has to be very clear and direct benefit to them in whatever that thing is. Who have I just described? A grown man or a toddler? There's very few grown men that do not fit this description. Also the fact that for toddlers, a lot of the times like the answer to things when they get upset or when they're angry is to destroy something. Whenever they get like really mad, they don't know how to process it other than to hurt something or someone, or to destroy something or unfortunately someone. That's why we have so many male annihilators, because it's not just a ha-ha funny joke. Like they're literally stuck in the stage, and it's actually very scary for us women. These men don't have basic emotional, cognitive, and problem-solving skills. They are not looking to develop in those skills. They are actually looking to keep performing those skills poorly until their mommy wife gives up on trying to teach them. Because they have figured out that toddlers have got it made. Like toddlers get to do whatever they want, say whatever they want. And that's how most men want to act and behave and move through the world. They want to just do whatever they want, but on the lowest basic possible scale of human behavior. I'm not joking. Like if it were less embarrassing to use a diaper, they would. They literally would. Because a lot of them piss in bottles and leave it in their room. But coming back to the self-centeredness, this is why men have to be gentle parented, right? This is why you have to have a certain tone when it's not what you said, it's the tone that you said it in. And the other thing that they also don't want to say is that you had a reason to be upset. Because you've used your nice tone with me hundreds and hundreds of times and I still didn't listen. But now when you use the wrong tone, now you use a harsh tone, I still won't listen. It's literally the same thing as a toddler. You know, they just listen whenever they feel like it. That's also a man. And this is why they also lose interest whenever something becomes like less about them. This is why they're losing interest in like independent, self-sufficient women, because it's gone too far to where they, the man, can't be the center of attention. Towards the end of that original video that I stitched, the man also said, let's flip the table. What if men went around acting like they were so independent all the time and like they don't need women? Like, as if that's not the reality, as if that's not how most men act. Like most men won't even ask for directions when they're lost. They will annihilate people to prove their independence. Like they'll do anything. So it's kind of funny that he would even say that, because men do not go around acting like they need women, even though they very desperately, very clearly do, right? They just want to believe so badly that women feel the same way about them. And it's just, that's the fact that's not true. Oh, I don't want like this independent woman, like whatever. Yeah, most men don't want women to realize the fact that most men couldn't afford a woman. You know, now that we have placed a financial value on childcare, childbirth, like a surrogate costs upwards of $200,000 on the low end. Most men do not have that lying around, but yet they have more than one child by a woman, and they've probably never contributed that much money to benefit her as she has by providing them the invaluable service of birthing and feeding and raising his children. So of course, most men don't want women to be independent, because for a woman to realize her actual financial value out in the world does not benefit men. And men want it to always be about them. They never want to participate in arenas where women are also succeeding. This is, again, another overlap that they have with a toddler, right? When you play with a toddler, you have to pretend like you're really bad at the game, right? You can't just whoop their ass, right? Like they're 2 years old. So you have to pretend like you're on the same like skill level as them, like that's what they like. Otherwise they won't have fun, they'll just walk away. And what are we seeing men do? The minute that women are like, oh good, I don't have to hide the fact anymore that I'm valuable to society, that I'm worth money, that I can go to school, that I can go to work, that I can get my own job, get my own car, have my own place, men are like, well, this isn't fun anymore. I only liked it when I was the one that could hold this shit over your head. The moment that you reveal that you're not actually like dumber than them, they really hate that. That really turns them off. So they would never, ever want an independent woman, because then that means they would have to be independent too. They never want to talk about what they are needed for, right? Like, men very obviously need women for some very obvious things, right? Access to women for men is not easy. So anytime you can secure continued and dependable access to a woman, that's already a win for you as a man, right? First of all, most men don't know basic life skills, so they literally need to keep a woman around just to do that. Dishes, laundry, cooking, cleaning, all of that. And then the obvious, right? There's kids. Most men would not be able to have kids without a woman that they've duped into doing it for much cheaper than the going rate. Imagine how many men wouldn't have children at all if every woman charged for every birth as a surrogate birth. You know how many men would stop with their, oh, I want 12 kids, oh, I want a football team. You know how quickly they'd shut the fuck up about that? Yeah, because they know that you're providing them an invaluable service for free. All they're obsessed with is winning, and just like a toddler, they only want to play if they're gonna win. And their prize as the grown men is legacy. So that's why they want to have 12 kids. They just want to use your body to pump out their little winning chips, their little Monopoly pieces. But what do most men bring to the table? A paycheck? And they want you to act like you're their little servant and like you're nothing without them and like you're so dependent on them? Tough shit. Tough shit, you know? They also wanted us to stay out of the schools and out of the workplace and out of all these things, and now we see why. Because it's not fun for them to play unless they are the ones winning, because they have the mentality of a fucking toddler, okay? So yeah, do not worry about what these men are saying about what kind of women they want. They want to be made to feel like they are the center of the entire universe, okay? They want to be made to feel like somebody can't live without them, because they know damn well that they are useless and a leech. The amount of value that men can extract from a woman over the course of her entire lifetime is way more than these men will even earn in the course of their entire lifetime, financially wise. And they are not bringing companionship to the table. They're not bringing understanding to the table. They're not bringing anything solid to the table except for maybe a paycheck. And you might as well live with a roommate if the paycheck is what you're interested in. You know, you might as well live with someone who's not also always pestering you to do things in the bedroom that you don't want to be doing. Because again, it does not fun for them unless they're the one winning, right? Always pushing you to do more and more depraved stuff, because that to them feels like conquering and winning, you know? Because again, they're just doing that thing that toddlers do when they just hit you for fun, just like for a reaction. And that's why men play so many pranks on their girlfriends, and like their dry sense of humor is actually so mean and is just nagging her all the time. Because just like toddlers, men like to feel like they are in charge for no reason. The only thing that matters to them is the size of their ego. And nothing shrinks their ego faster than realizing that a woman doesn't need them for shit. That a woman's actually doing them a fucking favor by being in their company. They hate that. And so they'll go out of their way to make you feel like it's their presence that's the prize. When it's not. It's yours, ladies. So do with that what you will. You do not need to pretend to depend on a man. Because you don't. You find your way just fine. You'll be okay. Women have been. That's why we're still around, despite the fact that men literally annihilate us every single day. Every 5 days just in the US, there's a femicide. That's just the US. So literally every day women are just offed for no reason other than men need to feel like the main character, men need to feel like they have some sort of hold or power or something over us. And yet we're still here because they are independent enough to live without a man. Like to say that just because she gets around a man that a woman needs to start pretending like she's dependent on him. Women have never been dependent on men. The only people that women can depend on is other women. It's not men, and it never has been. Men betray women all the time. Men leave women when they're sick, run off on their wives all the time. Men literally cause women to have autoimmune disorders from the crazy-making behavior and the mistreatment and the constant stress and anxiety that they present to women. So, no, men actually do believe that women are independent. That's what they treat us like. They treat us like a toddler treats an adult. They want us to understand all of their contradictions and be able to read their mind and use the right tone when we need to and gentle parent them and like make them feel like a real big, strong little dude. He's mommy's little helper. Fuck that. They come out here and they tell them themselves every single day. You just have to listen. So I hope you are, ladies. Stay safe out there. I love you so much. Godspeed.
For the ladies, this is one type of man that you need to run from if he comes into your life, right? And it's the type of man who loves that you're an independent woman. Now, of course, respecting and appreciating what you're able to do for yourself, there's no problem with that. But you have to realize there's a little bit of a trick when men love that you're an independent woman. Because what he's essentially loving is the lesser amount of responsibilities that he'll have to take on. A lot of men love independent women because, well, that's less work, that's less responsibility. And the problem is there will come a time where you need to depend on your man. There will come a time where you need a man who is very responsible, very capable. And if you get with the type of man who loves the fact that you're independent so he doesn't have to be dependable, when that time comes, he will disappoint you.
Dating an independent woman means every task comes with an expiry date, and no one's going to tell you what it is. Like, you thought the deadline was flexible, but by the time you realised that there was no grace period, she had already assembled an entire construction crew to do what she asked you to do 7 minutes ago. And you might call her impatient for that, but to her, you're incapable. To her, you didn't just fail to take initiative in the first place. You failed to take the instructions which followed too. And that's not something her independent mind can tolerate. She's the do it now, so I have time to spare type. But you're the procrastinate until the deadline passes type. I'm not saying that will never work out, but clearly you didn't read the contract before you signed it. Because somewhere in there is a clause that says, is competent. And you're disrespecting that line in every possible way. So yeah, not everyone can handle her. And she knows that. That's why she warned you in the introductory meeting and questioned you when you said that I got it straight away. So now it's on you for signing up for something you could never live up to.
Be completely honest, and I hate to use this word, no pun intended, but most men that are in good positions hate an independent woman. Like, that's just facts. Like, it's just something about an independent woman that really irks a man to make him feel like, oh, I can't control her. And with independent women, you can't control them because they don't need you for anything. They don't need to depend on you for anything. They don't need to really technically call you for anything, but she still understands that you're a man and that she don't mind feeding your ego to make you feel better because you are the man. But in hindsight, or just in plain view, man, she don't need you. She got money she can do for herself. She can cook, she can clean, she can take care of things that most men can't. And most men get upset with the fact that they can't control her. That's the biggest thing about this, is that men hate independent women because they cannot control them. And it's just facts.
I got a question. Why are men so upset, or they get so upset, when a woman declares that she's independent, or if she says she doesn't need a man? Why is that so upsetting to you all? I've always understood it to be when a woman says she's independent, that means that she does not have to rely on a man for resources to live. Also, in terms of not needing a man, that just means she doesn't need a man romantically. She may want a man or she may not. But why is that so upsetting?
An independent woman is not for everyone. In fact, in some cases, an independent woman will actually intimidate another man. And that's primarily based on the fact that this woman does not need a man in her life. If a man is in her life for whatever reason, it's because she truly and authentically desires his presence around. And that's what exactly is the factor that is somewhat intimidating to a lot of men, because men all throughout history, we've always been needed for everything. A woman's education, a woman's bank account, a job, literally everything. Women have been entirely and solely dependent upon men. So now that women have more of their own autonomous rights and they have more liberation, they don't need men as much for many things that like they did back in the day at one point in the past. So now men understanding this, they sort of get a little intimidated by it because they think to themselves, well, shit, if I'm not needed in her life, she can boot me out of her life whenever she sees so fit. And an independent woman, a woman who has her own shit, holds her own shit down and has her own things going on, she is not tolerant of crappy behavior because she knows what it's like to be with someone, and she also knows what it's like to be without them. And of course, being without them sometimes brings a lot more peace than being with someone who's not the right fit for you. And independent women understand all these things. And so when men see that they are easily replaceable and very dispensable, of course, it's going to intimidate them because they've never really been used to that. All through our history, once again, we've always been needed for damn near everything. And now that we're not, a lot of men are intimidated by it. But this is only weak men. A strong man is not going to be intimidated by an independent woman. at all. It's only a weak man that finds himself intimidated from an independent woman. If he doesn't come correct, he doesn't come right, he's gonna get booted off to the curb. And it's unfortunately a very intimidating thing for a lot of guys. Independent women have a tendency of being very smart, very educated, very goal-driven, very ambitious, very clever, and very well aware of how things work in life, and also sometimes very well aware of how men operate. And this means that a man can't really come with any kind of crappy or bullshit lies because she has the ability to detect them from a mile away. And that's why they just choose to opt out from being with independent women, because a lot of dudes can't really get away with the bare minimum effort or low quality behavior, low quality treatment. So they know this and just prefer to stay away from independent women, and that's why they get intimidated by them.
This is how some men manipulate women into accepting low quality situations or low value from them, right? And we call these men the neo men. This is what they do. Just like that song, Miss Independent, that's why I love her. They compliment you and make you feel validated about the fact that you're independent. It makes you feel proud. You're like, yay, I'm that independent woman. So now as the independent woman, he doesn't have to be as dependable since you're willing to do so many things by yourself. And here's the mental trick. Because you now love the idea of the title of being the independent woman, you will actually contribute unknowingly to his low levels of investment or effort. Also that you can be seen as the Miss Independent. So you do more things by yourself. And now the neo man doesn't have to.
Independence is supposed to be a good thing. That's the whole point, right? Knowing who you are, making your own money, making your own decisions, being completely fine on your own. That's what we're all supposed to be working towards. So why on earth does it become a problem the moment a woman actually has it? Because when you listen to some of these men admit why they can't handle independent women, and I'm warning you now, some of these answers made me want to throw my phone away. The reasons are more complicated than you'd expect, and honestly, darker than you'd expect. For some of these guys, it's about feeling needed, because if she has her own career, her own money, her own home, her own plans, then what exactly is she needing him for? And instead of asking, so what do I bring to the table? The answer becomes, she's too independent. That's the problem, in quotes. Do you hear how that sounds? The problem isn't that she's too much. It's that without her needing him, he suddenly feels like less. That's not her issue. That's you issue. And look, I'll even give a little credit here. Some of this conditioning, generations of men were raised believing their whole value was in providing and protecting. You take that away and of course it feels like losing your purpose. I get that, I do. But that's something to work through, not something to punish women for. But here's the part that really gets me, because there is a whole other side to this that some men completely miss. Independent doesn't mean she doesn't want you. It means she doesn't need you to survive. There's a world of difference between I need you and I choose you. Someone staying because they can't leave isn't love, that's dependency. Someone staying when they could walk away any day, that's actual love. That's a stronger foundation, that is. But no, some men will hear I choose you and still be upset that it's not I need you. And here's why. And this is the part nobody wants to say out loud. You can't impress her with money. You can't control her by threatening to leave. You can't assume she'll stay just because she has nowhere else to go. If she's unhappy, she walks just like that. And some people hear that and call it intimidating. I call it a woman having options. And if that scares you, maybe ask yourself, what exactly were you planning to do with the fact that she had no options? So tell me, is this the real problem, that independent women are difficult? Or is the problem being in a relationship where the other person that exact same power to say yes and walk away as you do? Let's listen to what these men actually have to say, because I promise you, some of these answers will make you black.
You don't need to be strong and independent. These are masculine traits. We already have that in truckloads. We don't need that in our lives. Men are not attracted to strong, independent women.
Are you not attracted to them, or are you just intimidated? Being afraid of strong, independent women, it just doesn't feel very alpha.
I'm just gonna be straight up, like, men do not like strong women. Strong, independent women, man, they do not like those type of women. They can't stand them because they can't control them. They can't make them do what they want. You feel me? Like, those type of women are not going to always, depend on you. Probably never going to depend on you. Not going to, feed into your ego and make you look like something that you're not. They're really going to tell you about yourself. Of course, if you're dating a woman that's immature and young, of course you can control her. You can do whatever you want with her. It's like just having strings attached to her. So you can't do that with an independent woman. And that's what a lot of niggas hate. They hate that type of shit where they can't control that woman. And I feel like with love, it shouldn't be like that. Why do you have to feel like you're a man because you can control a woman, man? That's not player at all.